yung importansya ng mga ganitong sidewalk and bike lanes, no, malaking bagay. Although alam ko malaking challenge rin sa atin dahil yung ating streets hindi siya talaga built for bike lanes dahil masikip. But alam ko rin may mga LGUs talaga tayo na ginagawa nila ng paraan para magkaroon tayo ng bike lanes. Pero tingin ko sa buong mundo yata tayo lang ang bansang walang sidewalk eh. No? So totoo lang ako marami ako napuntahan, even in mga developing nations like Cambodia, napuntahan ko, Siem Reap, napuntahan ko, meron silang sidewalk, tayo lang, even napunta pa kami ni BF Fernando sa Bogota to look at their bus rapid transit nung mayor ako kasi the World Bank wants to lend us money, so pumunta kami doon. Even ganun, no, developing nations may sidewalk, tayo wala tayong sidewalk eh. No, so and I was asking my staff, wala talagang pondo for sidewalk development. In fact, walang convergence budget ang DOTR and DPWH on mobility.
Yes po, we can confirm, Senator Win. Actually, isa pa po sa mga problematic na special provisions o yung wording pagkakalagay po ng mga salita sa special provisions natin for active transport. Nakalagay po sa priority line items na as far as allocable, as far as practicable, majority of the road space will be given to pedestrians and cyclists and for commuters. Pero ito po ay, dahil ito po ay ginagawang lusot ng ating mga implementing bodies dahil kung hindi po practicable, kung hindi po allocable o hindi po kaya ay hindi po ito i-implement. So, yun po yung isa sa mga gusto namin i-surface ngayong araw na to, na let us make it a mandatory language para po yung mga pondo na binibigay natin for active transport will really be used for active transport purposes.
Metro Manila, ilan ang nagpa-public transport a day? Versus ilan ang gumagamit ng sariling sasakyan a day?
For the whole country, Senator Win, our data, we have 94% are commuters. 94. So only 6% own cars. Dito po sa 94% na ito, the bulk of which come from the Greater Manila National Capital Region dahil dito po talaga yung pinakamaraming gumagamit ng public transport supply. So makikita po natin na there really is a disconnect with how our funds are being poured into road widening rather than public transport supply kasi mas mataas po na dihamak ang commuters natin compared to those who own cars.
Yung 94% is how many in terms of individuals?
An estimated po of 20.8 billion public transport passenger trips annually. Ito po yung nasa jeep at mga buses po ang kanilang ginagamit na mode of transport.
Pero ilang tao yun a day? How many people commute a day? Meron ka bang ganun number?
Currently, we have looked at the current data that the DOTR and DPWH has. Ito po ay isa sa mga wala pa pong data at present kung ilan pong specific na tao na yun, specifically for NCR or Greater Manila.
Siguro kung rough lang, kung merong 94%, kung roughly ang adult population is about what, 60, 70 million? Sabihin na natin 60. So that's about mga around 51 million. Assuming lang lahat nagtatrabaho. I'm making rough calculations. Mga 50 million nationwide ang nagko-commute. Is that a safe number?
Maybe a safe number, Sendwin. Pero I'm also going to say that it's problematic right now dahil wala pong numbers at ang nakikita lang po sa website ay passenger trips. Hindi po sinasaalang-alang yung individuals that are taking these passenger trips.
So 94% of all trips are public transportation.
Yes.
Ganun ba yun? Ganun ang interpretation?
Yes, Mr. Chair. 94% commute and use the public transport po.
Okay. 94% of
Filipinos.
Of Filipinos. But syempre adults lang, no? I would assume, so mga around 50, maybe pagkasama yung mga students, mga 60 million?
Roughly, ganun po, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Kasi tinitignan ko yung, like, for example, ito merong budget in DPWH, it's called Special Road Fund Ito yung dating MVUC na binaba na ngayon sa DPWH. Meron siyang 16 billion pesos. But itong special road fund is used for road safety. Mga roadway lighting, pavement markings, improvement of intersection, LED lightings. So, pero wala dito yung allocation for, let's say, pedestrian or sidewalk or even simple waiting shed ng mga commuters natin. Wala siyang ganun eh.
Yes, Mr. Chair. And also for the special road fund that was previously the MVUC, it is also, we also have to point out that it's problematic and also received a few comments from the COA way back in 2024 due to disbursement and prioritization issues kung saan po napupunta talaga itong mga MVUC. And for the special road fund, it does not, for the provisions for the SRF, it does not reflect road safe portions or areas of the road safety that must be prioritized. So makikita lang po natin dyan, tama po kayo, Mr. Chair, yung road lighting, pero wala po yung pinaka-essential parts of road safety, which is protecting those that are most vulnerable, our pedestrians and cyclists. So we see definitely there is a lack in the implementation and in the coverage of the SRF.
Tapos dito sa DOTR, meron silang active transport bike share system and safety pathways program, pero 69 million ang naka-allocate.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Ito po yung 69 million that is in the HCAB, but the original proposal of the DOTR here is 2.8 billion pesos.
2.8 billion.
Yes po.
Okay, and this will maggagawa sila ng mga bike lanes.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Currently, we have 497 kilometers of bike lanes in the whole country, and the target of DOTR by 2028 is to bump that up to 2,400 kilometers of protected bike lanes. Apart pa po from maintenance and updating our sidewalk infrastructures.
Okay. And do you think itong 2 billion is a good number to allocate for bike lanes? Marami na bang magagawa yun?
Ito pong 2.8 billion, Mr. Chair, we admit that this is not enough for the 2,400 kilometer bike lanes that is the target of DOTR by 2028. Pero what we must also highlight is that hindi lang po itong budget na ito i-allocate sa paggawa ng mga panibagong bike lanes. We in the coalition, we already see that there are already bike lanes in place. Meron na rin pong mga sidewalks in place, but the bulk of the problem here ay after a few months, kapag inilagay na po yung mga bike lanes at napatayo na po yung mga sidewalk infrastructure natin, just a few months or even just a year ay nagde-deteriorate na ito, or even worse, nawawala po ito. So this will fund yung maintenance and also the protection of these newly built infrastructures.
Ano ba ang if based on your analysis, ano ang magandang project to ay low-hanging fruit to improve commuting experience?
There are two
we can
things.
fund, kasi of course, to be honest about it, syempre yung mga heavy rail, light rail, this takes malaking investment talaga, no? Pero kung mayroon mga low-hanging fruit na pwede natin pondohan, but it will improve dramatically the commuting experience here in Metro Manila muna. Ano ba pwede nating i-allocate?
For infrastructure wise, Senator, Mr. Chair, we advocate for at-grade crossings for our pedestrians. Currently, most of the line items that is provided for pedestrian-specific ay mga footbridge. Yun po yung nakalagay sa ating mga special provisions in the GAA. But at-grade crossings are more efficient, more accessible, and cheaper to do. So isa po ito sa mga low-hanging fruits. If we want to maximize the budget that we're allotting for active transport, then doon na po tayo sa mas mura, mas accessible, at mas madali na i-build para sa atin. That's for, and ito rin po ay will be applicable for different areas. For example, our school zones. It will make it safer for school zones. It will make it safer to communities that have a high population of persons with disability or senior citizens. Pagdating naman po sa enforcement, isa po sa mga low-hanging fruits na we propose is to fund speed guns, breath analyzers, and training our police force to use these dahil ito po ay kasama po ito sa buong universe of road safety, ensuring that our officers have the proper tools and materials to enforce road safety provisions. And for the health portion, Mr. Chair, we also advocate funding post-crash care and trauma response. Because isa po sa mga madalas na nakakalimutan at hindi napupondohan ay kapag ang isang individual o isang Pilipino ay naka-experience ng road crash, hanggang sa paggamot na lamang po ito sa ospital. Hindi na po, it does not go further into providing post-crash care and trauma response. So these are low-hanging fruits that we can.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
At grade crossings, ito yung sa mga pedestrian?
Yes po, Mr. Chair.
Na-identify na ba ng DPWH kung saan ilalagay yon? Is there any identification already? Kasi pag maglalagay ng pondo, they have to build that, but they have to identify kung saan. Meron na bang ganun na plano?
At present, Mr. Chair, wala pa pong mga na-identify na specific school zones. But maganda po na mag-pilot po tayo sa mga specific na cities na pinaka-nangangailangan po. Sa Valenzuela po, meron na po yung safe school zones and we've seen it. We have partners and also member advocates that are from Valenzuela and they can attest to the effectivity of it na maganda po yung naging disenyo at pag-implementa nito. And so piloting in a few cities or municipalities will make it work. And second, Mr. Chair, since napag-usapan na rin po natin yung identification ng DPWH kung saan po ito magandang isagawa, baka isa na rin po sa mga low-hanging fruits natin is to really enforce or i-require na po natin yung DPWH to update their manuals and guidelines. Kasi we can fund, Mr. Chair, the infrastructures, but if the infrastructures or the design and manuals are not up to date to reflect our updated accessibility laws, implementing rules and regulations, then ang mabubuo lang po ulit natin are infrastructures that do not abide by these accessibility and universal design standards.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Ms. Abigail.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Next will be Attorney Bunagan of Caucus for Development NGO Networks or Code NGO.
Senate Committee on Finance, Chairperson Senator Win Gatchalian, members and technical staff of the Senate Committee on Finance, colleagues in the civil society, good afternoon. So I'm Attorney Makhil Bunagan of Caucus of Development NGO Networks, or Code NGO. And Code NGO is the largest network of NGO, people's organization and cooperatives in the Philippines, composing of 11 national and regional networks throughout the country. That represents around 1,600 organizations nationwide. Mr. Chair, we came here without any presentation, but we did bring some talking points that were more exhaustively discussed by our colleagues in, of course, in health, in youth, and in education. So in the interest of time, we would like to echo our support to those calls, particularly with the People's PBC, which we are also a part of. And also, we would like to offer our support on the call for open budget, specifically through the digitalization and ease of access of data that would be useful for civil society across the country so that they could monitor, evaluate, and of course advocate for the needs in their locality. And of course the transparency dashboard, which has been repeatedly mentioned today, I think it's one of the best calls for this session, the transparency dashboards, because it would be the very starting point where people, even those who are not very much informed in the technicality of the budget, can be informed about what's happening to the taxes that they're paying, what are the actions of their elected officials. And of course, the institutionalization of effective CSO participation in all budget processes, including in the BICAM. We would like to manifest that we are coming from a session from the House of Representatives that was very challenging. We were invited in the sessions, but we ended with a result where our inputs were not really considered. Hopefully, we come in this session hoping that the recommendations of my colleagues are given impact, are given effect in the coming form of this Senate. And of course, in the bicameral community hearings, we wish that there would be also a participation of civil society organizations, because most of the time insertions happens during bicameral committee hearings. And of course, we would like to also echo that as a national organization of around 1,600 local CSO, we would like to echo the possible connection of inviting regional organizations during these types of hearing, because most of the time